I remember days they used to laugh at me. Used to show them on my records talking casually. Used to say it was a passion on my path to be. Then they told me that I couldn't, so I had to be. Tell me what they really think about it now. Used to hate it, but I guarantee they're proud. Had to do it just to show them that I could, yeah. Now I finally think I took it where I should, yeah. I had jokes on you and now you're on and laughing. I did a whole lot of winning. Look, it came from a passion. I see a whole lot of no ones I could see now in public. And that may think a lot of things, man. At least think something, now you the judge. Hey, now tell me where you ended up. Yeah. Look, I bet it was a simple job. Yeah. Look, I went and took a different route. Yeah. Look, that's why my life is different now. Back in my feelings, look, when I wasn't so gifted and I was learning to do this, and all I heard were the critics, and I don't blame you for that shit. Look, I was way out the basis, but I just needed some talent so I could wait this to greatness. Oh yeah, you ain't ever think this, no, no, no. Stop me while I started, homie, whoa, whoa, whoa. Now this shit settled, it's go better and better, but I'll always remember, yeah, yeah.
What's happening? Catherine Arnston is here in the studio with me today on That One Podcast. Catherine, thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you, Mike. C-Roc. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you know, my last name is Sirocco. It's a long Italian last name, and I got tired of people trying to pronounce it and saying, how do you pronounce that? So I was like, you know what? Forget about it. Let's just go with
C-Roc. You're sort of like Rocky.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, so you're in Miami now. You got a great product that you're pushing out there to impact this world. And let's dive into it first of all. Like, what is it that you're working on right now that's got you excited?
Yeah, well, algae, first of all, was the first life on Earth 4 billion years ago. To put that in perspective, we've only been here for 2 million years. So it predates us by a long shot. And it's the most nutrient-dense food in the world. NASA's been using it and feeding it to the astronauts for 50 years. It's endorsed by the United Nations as the answer to world hunger because it has the highest protein in the world, 3 times more than steak. There's 100,000 studies documenting the health benefits of algae, everything from longevity to brain health to preventing Alzheimer's and any kind of disease. And it's a multi-billion, that's with a B, agricultural crop in Asia, where they've been taking it daily for 60 years. So I stumbled upon it because my younger sister 16 years ago, developed breast cancer. She's fine now, but her oncologist encouraged her to change her diet to a plant-based diet. I helped her with that, which led me to algae, which is the most alkaline food in the world. And when I started learning about it and realized nobody outside of Asia, especially here in America, knew about algae. They only thought of it as an algae bloom closing their favorite beach, and they got mad at it. I thought, man, we got to help people understand what this stuff does, because we have a nutritional crisis, we have a health crisis, we have an environmental crisis, we have a mental health crisis, and literally algae nutrition solves all of it. And I'm not just making that up as a conjecture. It's documented in science. So that's how I got here. I certainly wasn't planning. I have an MBA in international business. I had a different career before I started this, but this is my first love. And I wrote a little book recently called the Algae Love Story, because algae will love your body back to health, and it does it simply with nutrients that aren't found anywhere else in the world in any other food or prescription. And it is food, by the way. It's a crop. I'm going to show you a picture of algae farms. So yes, algae's in the ocean, but we grow it what's called hydroponically in fresh water. So that's a Spirulina farm. That's a Chlorella farm. So it's not from the ocean. And we're known for having the highest quality because we grow ours in triple filtered spring mountain water, and we don't use high heat to dry it. So we dry it into a powder, and then we press them in these tiny little bits, these tablets we call bits, because they're bits of nutrition, nothing added, nothing subtracted. And each tablet has the same nutrition as an entire plate of vegetables. One tablet has the same nutrition as an entire plate of vegetables. So guys and kids get pretty excited about this, because most men don't like vegetables. And even if you do like vegetables, when you're traveling, or maybe you're as you get older, you can't digest them, or you don't have time for them. A lot of them that go bad when you buy them. So this is literally the future of fast food, because these tablets, you can just swallow them if you want, or chew them. You need at least 10 at a time to make a difference. But they're,
so 10
NASA
is the
says
number?
1 gram of algae has the same nutrition as 1,000 grams of fruits or vegetables. So there's nothing with more
10 of those tablets is kind of the
entry level. Yeah.
Entry level?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you have a health condition.
Wait a minute. At a time or over a day?
Yeah, at a time. Well, you could
Okay.
take them throughout the day, but if you want to increase your energy, your focus, you want to satisfy your hunger, you need 10, maybe 15. Hey, we feel NHL teams, NFL teams, they have 75 spirulina. They're different algae. They do different things. So spirulina is a blue-green algae. That's the one that gives you energy, focus. We feel Olympic teams. And they have 75 before a game because,
Wow.
with NHL players, they need lots of focus on the ice and they move quickly. So there's no upper limit because it's food. It's like you can't have too much salad. So you could have as much as you want or as little as you want, but the more you have, the better you will feel and the better results you'll get.
Now, what's the difference between the dietary fiber or the other things that plants, normal vegetables give you, whether it's broccoli or spinach or whatever, compared to taking some algae tablets?
Yeah. Well, there's there's pigments like the one called chlorophyll, which makes plants green, and it's very alkaline and very healing. And in fact, chlorophyll is the same chemical composition as your hemoglobin. So chlorophyll builds your blood. This is your blood chemical composition. This is your chlorophyll, virtually identical. Your blood has iron in the middle. Chlorophyll has magnesium. The problem is, even if you are eating vegetables, and most people aren't, let's be honest, and French fries don't really count. Even if you are eating them, you're not getting the nutrients anymore because our soils are so damaged. They've been monocropping for decades, so you get fiber and calories, but not nutrition.
Right.
So algae has the highest chlorophyll in the world. In fact, Chlorella algae is called Chlorella because of the chlorophyll. It has 500 times more chlorophyll than arugula, 25 times more than liquid chlorophyll. And that's why I want to talk about the two algae because they do different things. And then spirulina, it has the highest protein in the world. And animal protein is all bound up into aminos. Well, body can't absorb protein. It has to break it down into aminos. But animal protein can take days. Collagen peptides are faster. Algae protein, and it has 18 of the 20 aminos, including the 9 your body can't make, so it's a complete protein. It's already in individual aminos, so it's very efficient protein, and you get it's like 99% bioavailable. So plants have things like phytonutrients and chlorophyll, but the problem is we're not getting nutrients from them anymore.
Right.
And they contain things that are called anti-nutrients, things like lectins and oxalates, which can cause stomach damage. Algae doesn't have any lectins or oxalates, so that's great. And it's the most nutrient-dense food in the world with all these great bioavailable properties. Now, I will tell you, in fact, because you mentioned fiber, spirulina, and we call ours ENERGYbits because it's the one that gives you mental and physical energy, it's not even a plant. It's a bacteria. I used to hesitate telling people that. And the reason why that's important to know is there's no cellulose wall for your body to break down to get access to all the nutrients. So it's absorbed instantly. Now, chlorella, and we call ours ENERGYbits because chlorella is a wellness algae. It pulls out toxins, heavy metals, alcohol, lactic acid, and it builds your immune system and stimulates bowel movements and all other great stuff. But it does have fiber. So chlorella, and a lot of people take fiber in vegetables because they want the chlorophyll, and chlorella has more of it than anything else, and they need to have daily bowel movements. But if you don't like vegetables or can't eat them, chlorella does all of that and more.
Wow.
So you don't have to eat another vegetable again if you don't want to, if you're taking chlorella every day.
Well, my kids would love that. So the other question I had was, how much protein is in the spirulina?
Yeah. Well, we sell them in little pouches of 30 tablets. And so if you took 30 tablets, and that's how many we recommend if you want a lunch, for example, there's only 1 calorie, 40 vitamins and minerals, and the highest protein in the world. So 5 grams of protein is found in 30 tablets. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but what you need to remember is that when you eat 5 grams, when you eat animal protein, let's say you had a serving of 50 grams, that's about the size of your wrist. your hand. So, but most people have compromised digestion. And it can take up to 2 or 3 days for your body to break down all the protein into aminos. So very often you may even 50 grams of protein, but you only end up with 5 grams of aminos because you didn't have all the factors and cofactors and all that sort of stuff. With algae, when you get 5 grams of protein, you get 5 grams of aminos. So it's very efficient nutrition. In fact, I talk to people about how spirulina puts nutrition into your body, and the other algae, which is chlorella, pulls out toxins. So one pulls them in, the other one pulls them out. And the other thing, I tell people, because we find so many people are getting diseases after the age of 40, certainly at 50, and a lot of that's because of something called mitochondrial damage. And spirulina and chlorella to a lesser degree has the nutrient not found anywhere else in the world that protects your mitochondria. It's a long word. You've probably never heard of it before. It's called superoxide dismutase, also known as SOD. But this will improve your energy at the cellular level. That's why it's not a stimulant. It's a nutrient that works at the cellular level, and it heals and protects and regenerates your mitochondria that generate all of your cellular energy. Your mitochondria are like the lights that keep allow you to work in a building. When your lights go out in a building, an office tower, you just call maintenance and they come and replace them, right?
Yep.
But in your body, what keeps the lights on in your brain and in your body are the mitochondria. Trouble is, we don't have maintenance people that we can call and just say, hey, can you replace my mitochondria? So that's what this stuff called superoxide dismutase does. But after the age of 40, your body doesn't make it anymore. And that's why people get so many health conditions and issues, and they get brain fog and weight gain and all sorts of stuff after the age of 40. So if we can get taking the spirulina that restores that superoxide dismutase that acts like a big golf umbrella that protects your mitochondria from free radical damage, we're good to go. And so, it's all proven in science, and we've done clinical trials and all that sort of stuff.
So if I were to take one of those packets, one of those each a day, that would be good enough to see a difference?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You're a big guy. And I would, now the thing with this cellular energy stuff, it's called ATP. Your body can't store it. So when you're generating ATP, it's used in the moment. So if you were to take 30 of these tablets and then go do a workout, running, weightlifting, you would run further or faster and you wouldn't even notice it. Or you would lift more or lift longer and you wouldn't even notice it. But if you took 30 and just sat around on your sofa, you won't really notice too much because it's not really being deployed. On the other hand, if you were writing exams or you're driving a car or doing brain surgery, everything in your brain would work better. Speaking of your brain has the most mitochondria in your entire body. There's 2 million mitochondria per cell. Just think about that. 2 million mitochondria per cell in your brain. So when you take spirulina, the first thing that improves is your focus. We have, our autism, ADHD, depression, anxiety, everything post-traumatic stress disorder. Everything starts working better because once you get your mitochondria being protected again with this stuff called SOD, your brain starts working again.
Gotcha. All right, let's talk about the business side of this. Now, so you get this idea, okay, your sister had breast cancer. Take us through the journey of like her having that and then how you got into this and then what was the journey like starting the company and then getting it up and running.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I tell people I didn't choose algae. It chose me. I had a successful corporate career. It was good enough. And but when my sister got sick, all I wanted to do was help her. And when her oncologist told her to change her diet, now this was not just her neighbor or her yoga instructor, this was her oncologist, so cancer specialist, told her to change her diet. It was pretty serious stuff. She didn't know what to do. I'm just a really good researcher. I actually just recently got my PhD at the ripe old age of 69. So I just thought, well, I don't know anything about nutrition, and many of your listeners may not either, but thank God for the internet. And now, of course, thank God for ChatGPT, one step up, right? So yeah. I just learned that the stuff in plants, chlorophyll and phytonutrients built your immune system. So that's one reason why her oncologist wanted her to have a strong immune system for chemo. But then I also discovered this guy, a doctor back in the 30s by the name of Otto Warburg, who won a Nobel Prize. He was a German scientist. Won a Nobel Prize for finding that cancer can exist in cells that are alkaline. So I think that's the other reason So I dug into the research, found some stuff for my sister. She completely healed. This was 16, 17 years ago. I decided plant-based nutrition was pretty important for people to know about. So I gave up my corporate career, went back to school, studied nutrition at a place called Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And then I put my own curriculum together, and I taught plant-based nutrition at companies and hospitals. And this is what led me to algae in a big way, because I had read hundreds of scientific papers by that time, seeing all the benefits, the nutritional benefits of eating a plant-based diet. But everybody, when I gave my lectures, they said, oh man, it's too much work. I hate vegetables. My kids won't eat them. They go bad. They give me gas, yada, yada, yada. So I thought, okay, if I can't get plant-based nutrition into them daily, I need to find a way that's easy, that doesn't provide any obstacles. I had no idea. And this is, I share this with entrepreneurs, because when you step into that decision to do something, I can almost promise you, you will not know what you're doing, but something inside you tells you you can do this. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no training, no education, no money either, but I just knew I could find something. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew I would find something. So I just, blindly just kept going, put one foot in front of the other. And when I finally got to algae, that's when the miracle happened, because A, is the most alkaline food in the world, most studied food in the world, 100,000 studies. You can't compare that. There's nothing in the world that's got more science behind it. Endorsed by international agencies, used safely in Asia for 60, 75 years. And the only problem with it was that people outside of Asia didn't know about it. And the best part of it was that it came in these little tablets. And if you swallow these tablets, there's no flavor, nothing, no repeat, not like fish oil. And again, one tablet's about the size, gives you the nutrition of a plate of vegetables. So when I read all this, I thought, oh my God, this is a game changer for the world. I didn't realize it would take me this long to get the science and the knowledge and the branding done, but I taught myself everything, because there was something in me that said, we need you to do this. The world needs you to do this. It made no sense whatsoever. And just to give you some of the gory details, during this process, I filed for bankruptcy. I was in foreclosure for 3 years. I had my car repossessed. I had no money. I was humiliated, because here I was, an MBA from Canada's best school. It's called the Ivy School of Business, modeled after Harvard. And all this stuff was going on that was embarrassing financially, but I refused to give up. I taught myself package design. I'd never designed anything before in my life, but I went to Whole Foods and I got all the Kind bars and all the Lara bars and the empty boxes, and I lined them up on my dining room table, and I measured the length, the width, the height. I figured out what they put on the front, the side, the back. I designed my own boxes on PowerPoint, and then I printed them up on paper, cut them up, and made little miniatures to make sure I liked them. And then I would send them. I found somebody who would make what's called a die line. But that's what I did every step of the way. I knew nothing about supply chain, but I taught myself supply chain. I knew nothing about finance. I taught myself finance. I knew nothing about science. I read probably 3,000 scientific papers on PubMed and just applied and got my PhD in natural health 6 months ago. So there was nothing that was going to stop me, absolutely nothing. Keep in mind, all this time I had no money. I was, so stressed out. I never missed a payroll. I worked in the company was in my home, my condo, the one I finally got out of foreclosure with, for 8 years. We've been around for 15. But so the first 8 years was in my condo. I had product in my bathtub. There wasn't a square inch of my condo that didn't have something with my business in it. I was just completely taken over by the business. And then I thought, oh my God, we need an office, but the offices were so expensive and they were dingy. So I thought, okay, well, I live in how about an apartment? So I rented a studio apartment in my building on the same floor where I lived for a year, but that wasn't big enough. So then we moved down the hall to a 1-bedroom apartment. And we were there for 6 years, and the building wasn't happy that I was running a company out of my, this rented unit, and I lived in the building. But we finally achieved growth. We doubled revenue every year for the last 4 years. We didn't do any advertising. It was all on podcasts. Thank God for podcasts, because I was teaching people all this science. And then my proudest moment was actually last year, when I realized we needed to move to somewhere that understood our field, which was nutrition, holistic health. Boston's a very medical city, doesn't really get nutrition. So I decided we needed to move to Miami. So I signed a 5-year lease in this office tower where we are now in Miami. I have a real office with a real sign on my door. Other women probably want diamonds or something. Me, I wanted an office in a big boy's office tower, and I have that. And I have a real team now. I used to only hire interns because that's all I could afford. I have real executives now who actually know their shit. So,
Yeah.
So I mean, we're still growing so quickly, and it's a lot to handle, and there's new things I have to learn literally every day. But we're making headway. And it was a really rough ride there for the first 14 of the 15 years. But I got here, and I'm really, and again, I don't know what the next step is, but I just keep going. I recorded 200 teaching videos last year. The 1.5 minute videos that we just to teach people about algae for brain health, algae for work health, algae for skin, algae for digestion. I did it to teach people. Turns out they're turning into fabulous ads. We get 500,000 views on TikTok, and people buy from the video. And it's crazy. People really, I am highly ethical, and I am very buttoned up on my science, and I really, truly want to change the world. And I guess they sense that. But who knew that, these videos I was creating for teaching turned into the best platform for generating revenue. And we now have retargeting, and I have a CMO who knows digital marketing in his sleep. So it just goes to show you that if you're pulled in a direction that speaks to you, in spite of all of my family thought I was crazy. My friends abandoned me. Nobody thought this made any sense, and it didn't make sense to me either. But there was something about it that I felt I had been tapped on the shoulder. It's like, you can do this. And I kept arguing with the universe. Find somebody else who has science background, but it refused to let me go. And so I just taught myself, and there you go. Right?
Well, even through that hard time, how many times was there that you felt like quitting?
Never. I just thought, I'll have to try to learn something else. I have to try again. I just have to. And whether you're an Olympic athlete like Simone Biles, I mean, she must have practiced her somersault like 10,000 times to get that one perfect one that won her the award for 8 seconds in the air. She never thought she would give up. Not once did I ever think I would give up. Not once. So it was it. There was no B plan, nothing. I was committed. I had made a soul promise somehow, somewhere along the line to make this happen, and I was not going to let the universe down.
Yeah. Well, I love it. All right. So has that, now that it's growing and getting going, you got some momentum. Has anybody offered to buy the company yet?
No, and we're not really ready to sell. At one point, we will probably be acquired, but we have to get to a couple more big benchmarks, because my interest is always the education, the branding, the strategy, being the face, digging into distribution channels and maximizing margins by another 1 or 2%. Not my thing. So I'll be quite happy to hand it off to a bigger organization if they're the right organization, and will continue to carry the message and the product to the people. But we're not there yet. We have to also, it's sort of interesting because I was the solopreneur for 6 years. And honestly, as an entrepreneur, it is passion that really just drives you. But at some point, you have to cross that threshold, that chasm. And because you need to get professional. The passion will get you started and get you going, but then you have to learn how to take it to the next level. And there's different stages of growth. And as the entrepreneur, you have to embrace that change, that shift, and learn new skill sets. So I'm now more of a leader than the entrepreneur who's scrambling all the time. And it took me a while to make that transition, but I'm making it. And then you have to, learn to delegate, but you can only delegate when you have good people to delegate to, and then you have to trust them. So I'm kind of back to where almost I started 15 years ago when I had this business background. The first 16 were just hunkering down, proving what I knew needed to be done, and people are seeing the results, the science, and understanding what we're trying to do. And now I'm switching gears, getting back into being more of a business leader and a coach for my team, which is an interesting transition. Yeah.
People building. I call it people building.
Yeah.
So how many SKUs do you have right now?
Well, we don't have a lot of SKUs. We actually literally only sell two things. We sell Spirulina and Chlorella. But we have four brands because we have two brands of Spirulina, because I found women didn't like the packaging of the first one, which is blue, gives you energy. And because it has more collagen than collagen powder, and women's health has always been important to me, my girlfriend said, you gotta make it pink and give it a cute name. So we have Spirulina, we have two brands, ENERGYbits and ENERGYbits. I call my brands, by the way, my children, because I'm very close to them. So I call these two my twins. And then we have Chlorella, which is the ENERGYbits brand. And then the fourth one is a brand called ENERGYbits, which is a blend of the two algae. So literally, we only have two products, but we have maybe like different packaging. We have boxes and bags and canisters. So we probably have 30 or 40 SKUs. Okay. But I tell people, and this is a challenge for every entrepreneur. When I was first getting started, everyone said, oh, you need like 25 different products, because that was the mentality. You got to go wide. And if you wanted to do retail, and I never wanted to do retail, I wanted to do direct to consumer. And also we do work through practitioners and biohacking centers, but it's mostly direct to consumer. The other, I point out to people now, because what I was doing was unheard of, that you don't focus just on two products. Like, how crazy are you? But again, it felt right. I just felt this is what I have to do. And AG1, by the way, has one product, and they've gotten to $500 million annual revenue with one product, because somewhere along the line, they figured it out the same way I did, that you can go deep and become an expert and a specialist, and then focus your time and budget on, widening the awareness of what you have. You can either go wide or you can go deep. And I had no desire to just be throwing products out there. I like to go wide and deep and be a specialist. So so we have literally two products, Spirulina and Chlorella.
What would you say makes you that one compared to companies like the one you mentioned or other companies? Like, what separates?
Well, there's lots of companies selling Spirulina and algae tablets. But I would say 99% of them also sell 50 or 100 other products. They sell fish oil and CoQ10, and so it's just a product for them. It's just another SKU, and they don't pay as much attention as I do. This is all we do. So I'm very hands-on. I select all of our vendors. I make sure all of our processing are absolutely the best to preserve all the nutrients. They don't do any of that. So what separates us is that we are specialists, and then we go the distance to ensure quality and purity and safety. For them, and it's, as I mentioned, algae is a food. So we have a nutrition chart on the back of our panel. Almost all other algae companies have a supplements panel. They're selling a supplement. They don't even know what they're selling. Even the FDA considers algae a food because it's an ingredient in other foods. So what separates us is the unrelenting focus on quality, purity, and safety, the commitment to educating people. All the science that I read and that taught me all the things that I know that I now put in teaching videos, it's been available for free on the internet in PubMed for 50 to 75 years. Nobody took the time to go into that science like I did. I've spent 15 years going into the science. So it was there if they wanted to share and explain it to people, but they didn't. So I'm interested in helping people understand how their body works and why algae is a perfect fit. It's the key that fits into the key hole that gives your body and your life what it needs to perform optimally. And anybody could have done it, but it took a lot of time and nobody did. So my commitment to education, the commitment to building a clean product and helping build this as an industry, I plan to grow it in Florida, by the way. We grow ours in Taiwan, which is the gold standard for.
Have you been to Taiwan to check those out?
I'm going in October. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because making algae tablets it's not like growing algae is not like growing broccoli or tomatoes. It's like making wine. So it's the angle of the sun that affects the quality and the production processes. So Taiwan's climate is exactly the same. I drew a line. You could draw a line on the globe. You'll get exactly to Florida. Florida's climate is exactly the same as Taiwan. So I plan to build large algae farms here in America because algae needs to be grown here. You know, there's so many tariffs that are coming up. If you don't own your supply chain, you will never be a massive success. You have to own your supply chain. So
do the tariffs affect the algae coming from Taiwan?
Yeah, but we haven't increased the prices yet. It's just we don't want to.
What was the percentage?
Well, it's constantly changing. So it's been increasing, 20% here, 30% there, 40% there. So we just keep sucking it up, so we don't have to pass it on. But we have all kinds of farming subsidies for corn and wheat and soy, and those are not healthy crops. They're inflammatory and they have no nutritional value. So. I believe algae farming here is the answer, and I'm going to do everything I can to make it happen because then it'll be a part of America's diet. Because the other thing is, algae isn't new. It's been used for centuries in other countries. The Egyptians used it, the Aztecs used it, but nobody knows about it because it's not grown here. In Asia, you can't ride your bicycle to school without going by an algae farm or drive a car to work without going by an algae farm. Here we go by cornfields or wheat fields or tomato patches or something. So nobody knows about it, and until me, nobody told you about it. So I want it to be, it's not new, but it's probably new to most of you who are listening. So
Dr. Catherine, where can people go to find more about this or get access to these things?
Yeah, our website is ENERGYbits.com, ENERGYbits, and we have a 20% discount code for everybody. It works on all products all the time, different sizes. The code is THAT1, THAT, and then the number 1, no space. And it always works. And when you buy the large bags, which are the best value, each bag has the same nutrition as 551 pounds of vegetables. Wow. So very nutritious. And if you take 10 a day and use that code, THAT1, it works out, if you take 10 a day, it works out to $1 a day. So everybody can afford $1 a day to be nourished.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get some because I want to get my kids to eat them.
Yeah. Now, spirulina is usually for the day because that's when you're tired and hungry and you need energy. And chlorella we generally suggest at night because your body goes through a detox repair cycle when you're sleeping. So having the chlorella that we call ENERGYbits in your system while you're sleeping will give you a better detox, better repair, stimulates peristalsis, even helps you sleep because it has the highest tryptophan in the world. So come and visit us at ENERGYbits.
If I don't want to stop eating meat, this isn't going to hurt me to eat these too, right? Or
in fact, we have a lot of carnivores who take it because a lot of people go carnivore because of the lectins and oxalates that plants have to protect themselves from predators. But algae has never been a land plant, so it started from the ocean. So carnivores, listen up. This is for you too. Paleo, vegans. It's good for your pets, your children, your teenagers. No contraindications. This is the safest, purest, nutrient-dense food you'll ever put in your body.
Let's go. All right, Dr. Catherine Arnston from Bits, plant-based ENERGYbits. Go check them out, folks, and put the code the number 1 in there for 20% off. We appreciate you doing that for us. And and look, I'm so glad that we have the opportunity to represent you and get you out on more podcasts at That One Agency. It's a pleasure and honor, and I really appreciate you.
Well, thank you for all that you do, because it takes a lot of us to turn this ship around, right?
That's right. That's right. I love being part of your mission. All right. Well, guys, listen, make sure you go subscribe or hit the follow button, whatever's on this platform that you're on, your favorite podcast platform, and keep coming back. We have a lot of great guests bringing amazing information to you that can change your life, improve your life, and those around you. Until next time, it's your boy C-Roc and Dr. Catherine Arnston signing off. Be that one.